Hi. I wanted to add a question I left out that I did want to ask Bobbi Kristina about, and that is the rumor about Nick being the one who supplied, well, he definitely supplied her the drugs that rendered her unconscious. Um, but as regards to having supplied her mother, I want to have another look because she was saying something with regard to that in the reading, and in Whitney's reading there was a card, the Three of Swords, that can indicate poor health, which she definitely had at the time, but also she may have had it also meaning betrayal. And what I have seen from the readings is that she is remorseful. Whitney is remorseful of ever having brought him in and definitely bringing him into her home. So I want to see if there's anything to. And Bobbi Brown went on I think it was was it Red Table Talk? Table Talk? Wilda. Okay, I cannot talk. Jada. Jada's show, I think, right? So, let's just see. I ask the creator in the universe, did Nick supply Whitney with the drugs that evening that caused her to overdose from cocaine and have heart failure, along with her own already poor health from addiction? Did Nick give her a potent cocktail as well? And was that done deliberately? Is he deliberately trying to cause their demise so he could inherit? That's what I want to know. So it's kind of more on Nick, I guess, really. Did Nick supply the drugs that caused Whitney Houston to pass? This is the first question I want to know. Did Nick give the drugs which caused Whitney Houston to pass, which sounds like it was cocaine? Was he the source of the cocaine? We get the Hermit. But I get the Two of Swords. It could be on the down low. This is a card of, like, to me, it's kind of something that you look for in the dark. So I'm thinking there's some down low with this that I'm getting bits and pieces on. Was he the one that's kind of the character that doesn't want anyone to know what they do? Well, there's the Devil. I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say something was private or has not been revealed or held back in some way with that Two of Swords, and it has to do with the Hermit, and that could be the procuring of substance, bringing substance. And it looks like it's really powerful. And it does show, I think that Bobby Brown, his claims may not be too crazy for those that think that his claims are crazy. Anyone that would, I don't know that very many would. But here it looks like, I mean, this is the devil, this is the Eight of Wands, and the Eight of Wands is activity. And it is quick, and it is a powerful, and it tells me these drugs were powerful, and they had a kick. It also shows me the association, a thriving drug in person. And I believe Nick was probably a drug dealer.
Hey, Mom.
Okay, so yes, I do think she's definitely, sorry for the interruption there, it's okay. But I definitely do think she's referring that he was dealing. Because this is a major arcana card. It's not just like, yeah, this time I threw her some. This is this is a bigger deal. This is a significant thing. And this must be where I feel like Whitney kind of brought up perhaps the betrayal. And I felt like Nick when I got the word Nick when I was said that word betrayal, but I just also got a lot of other stuff. And I feel too like both of them didn't want Nick to take up any more of away from them, that they wanted their time to say what they wanted to talk about and it not revolve around him. Very much felt that, which surprised me a little bit. I mean, I thought they might want to, they did address some things, but I felt like, and I totally understood that it was like, oh, we don't want to give him too much time that way. We want to talk about some other things. So he was significant, it looks like, most definitely, I think, in both of them being part of the negative picture that around each one of them. And he was, and more than that is what I'm getting, he was an actual evil dude that became extremely oppressive and controlling and maniacal. And as a drug addict, I just think that, and from what I got from Bobbi Kristina in the reading, is just that I'm feeling there was a lot more abuse than that we know of, and extremely sexually strange stuff too. I think there was some really ugly stuff that he was up to, and very oppressive, sadistic, masochistic behavior going on there. Obsessive, full on, negative ego in place, running the show. That's what we're definitely shown here. An ego that is running the show and is active and running amok. Wisdom has no place. There's like denial. That's another hit that I get from these cards. Oppression again. Every time I read on Bobbi Kristina and I bring up Nick, she brings up the devil. This is the second or third time between the readings I've done for Whitney on and off camera, because often I get interrupted a lot, so I have to start over. And I'll see the same cards popping right back up, despite the fact that, okay, I have to reshuffle and get back into, from my interruption into the reading. And they'll come up again, and that's what's happening here. This, with the message of oppression and somebody being super controlling. And I feel like he treated her, she keeps saying, like a dog. I have a feeling he would do some demeaning things to her. And this shows justice, and it's falling underneath the Two of Swords and next to the Ten of Wands. The Five of Swords indicates a bully and a sense of also many times of defeat. I think she felt like she just could not win with him, that she could never get away from him, that he was just had control, and he really did. Nobody knocked him off his perch. Once he got into that family, I think he thrived and just seized control. And he was not a well person. He was aggressive and mean-spirited, very mean here. Very mean-spirited. You can see the sadism here, definitely, as a bully. And liking controlling people and just keeping people miserable as a means of, like, I did this, as just bad energy. It's all the drugs, it's all everything, it's all the chaos. And this is the instability that was going on. She's really talking about with him that he was really unstable. He was, I believe, being sexually and mentally, not that sexually wouldn't be mentally, but I think verbally and sexually degrading and physically abusive and controlling. I get that he beat the crap out of her is what I get, and humiliated her. This is what I get with the devil. It's always going to be humiliation, degradation, making people do really sick things to humiliate them, and recording it, this kind of crap. Not that I think that he recorded it. I don't know. I don't see that necessarily. But what I see here is that kind of behavior. And he was unstable, would go to extremes. So that might mean that he might not be mean all the time, which would make a lot of sense, that he would switch on the charm, and maybe he, was born a narcissist. And I think once he got in, and I've always felt that about him intuitively for some reason, have to say, but I think once he got in and around their family here, he took over. His greed, his gluttony took over himself, and took over a great deal of control in that family. I don't really know, and I hate to point the finger at Bobbi Brown, but say, why didn't you? But he just doesn't seem like anybody really, did anyone really try and stop him? I don't know. Because it doesn't look like it. But he would have made it difficult. Yeah, I'm getting, this is about Nick, and I'm getting she's showing that he is a, just somebody that ended up despite his behavior and his attempt to hold on to her for his forever. I think he told her, "You're never getting away from me." I get little messages like this in my head when I'm tuning in, and I don't always say exactly, although I try to, but sometimes I'm getting multiple feelings and messages. And so I'm trying to remember to slow down a bit and tell you guys what I'm, quote unquote, a phrase I hear in my mind or whatever I'm picking up. And I just feel that Nick was a really screwed up guy who quickly figured out how to manipulate and create himself like a tick, bury his teeth into this family and suck the life out of them through his own toxicity and gluttony and negative type of coping mechanisms, behavior. But for him, it's like straight up control. And I get here, okay, I just got a hit here from her. She's saying he kept me away from my family. He isolated me and controlled me. And it grew worse because it became, she's like, I'm getting him like making a game day to day of getting high. And then it's like, let's F with Bobbi Kristina. You know, I'm feeling like in the mood to tear her down. Like that kind of a personality. He was really, really just putridly evil person, much more than I even realized. I mean, you realize it, right? Anybody that did what he did, he was just stinking. But when they throw him that card, that's when I know, oh, you're in that club. And that is why he also, I knew when I was reading on him, I had a bad feeling about him to begin with. After Whitney died, I thought that guy's going to kill that girl with that stuff. It's just no good. And unfortunately, you know, you didn't need to be a tarot reader or an empath to pick that up. It's common sense. That your spidey senses tingled, that there was more than what, you know, bad things going on than what we knew about. Nick was in far more control of, I feel like, Whitney's friggin' estate, excuse me, any money of her estate, because he had complete control over Bobbi Kristina. She's saying that right here. And he would physically threaten, and he would follow through. He wouldn't just threaten, but like this threat was a real follow through, because he enjoyed that. That was a hobby. I'm getting from him that slapping people around, particularly her, was his hobby. And a part of the irony she finds is that in this extreme intention of holding her and keeping her as to be something he toys with as he wills and uses and uses up and throws aside without much care, any care. He didn't care, by the way. He didn't. He really did not. Even when he died, he didn't care. I get that. But this guy was much worse than we thought. Much, much worse. It was all hidden. Pretty well hidden. He was controlling a great portion of, I feel like, the estate. And that's, why, I mean, it makes sense now. I just remembered, oh yeah, after I said that, I did read that he got in trouble. He was supposed to pay something back. I'm sure he never did, because he never would have had the money to do it. It was a pretty substantial amount. And I get that he was childish and petulant here with the Page of Cups, and that he was neglectful as a boyfriend, and didn't care for her, didn't properly engage. And he walked away here. There's abandonment, issues of abandonment. She's saying he has issues of abandonment, and I'm like, who cares? And she's like, well, that's the reason. I'm telling you this part of the thing that's going on in my head. But I'm like, who cares? He's a jerk. But she's like, this is why he did what he did, why he wants to control so much. Not that that's any excuse, but this is to understand maybe something that I know, because I know nothing about, next to nothing other than that he's somebody that Whitney adopted or something like that and brought in under her own house, and he never left, and he just kind of leached and sucked onto this family and was very, very poisonous for Bobbi Kristina. But it looks like also definitely for Whitney too, because the question, was he connected to that? Did he supply drugs or something? And it looks like he did. Here's the drugs I'm getting. Yeah, he gave them, there's some excess here. And there's something that, smugness. There's a smugness with him. He was a smug piece of you-know-what, is what I'm getting. And he had I'm getting drug dealer again. He was a drug dealer. He would drug people. I'm getting from her that he would drug her without her consent. He made her dependent on drugs so he could control the money. It's just manipulation and evil. And he just created an instability within her. And then when he got tired of her and got annoyed with her, he did what he did. And she's showing that how much anxiety that she was feeling, and a lack of trust, and that he liked to keep her anxious because it made him feel like he was in control, to keep her unsteady. He liked to keep her in a messed up, off balance kind of way, not in a healthy kind of way, because it was shits and giggles, kicks for him. And that's really what it comes down to. He's a very sick man. Let's see if we can get any sense of what may have come with the afterlife with this guy. Ace of Pentacles, feeling trapped, taking the money. I feel like she just felt like she was being robbed, and day by day, and that he was helping himself, and that she didn't feel like there was much she could do about it. She felt really helpless. To stop him from, I think, where the drugs, then once he had her, this could be also him giving her medication. Not medication, but actually drugs. I think overdoing, keeping her really doped up. And this is some of his activities or plans that were revealed. There was something about a certain amount of money that was looked at. And again, maybe that's the money that he was court ordered to pay him back. This could still represent Nick, because he is of an earth sign. But I'm not sure. Could even be... To me, it's the money. The money that he was ordered to, maybe even in installments, pay back, but there's something here about estate, goods, wealth. I don't know who was in Bobbi Kristina's will. I'd be very curious to know about that. Looking at this, I have a feeling he made sure that he influenced that. I would have to think, because this makes me feel that. These cards are making me feel like a will that's giving him if she dies. He wanted that anyway. If he didn't get it, he wanted it. Look at that. He's just like, it's all about money with him, she's saying. And it always has been. And that would make sense. She's showing him as a child and about being just obsessed with things and being very materialistic. Now, I like clothes and things, but I can straighten up and be very minimal and get very practical, which is the next thing I have to do. But this guy is one of those earth signs, fellow earth sign, that is all he sees is things for himself, very selfish. And with this Page of Cups card and that Page of Pentacles, it's showing me her as a child or younger and him as a younger youth. And I just feel like she was more interested in the emotional connection between people and connecting with people, and he was more interested in things and wealth and looking a certain way. And while she liked those things, I don't think that was quite what was important to her. I think for what Bobbi Kristina wants to say is she needed emotional support and tenderness being shown to her. She craved that. But he was not that type. I'm getting he was more interested in how he could look and what he had. Very materialistic person from a young point on. In a way that, I'm shown Bobby enjoyed those things, but not to the degree that he did. That was really his consciousness, apparently much more. Here's the King of Swords. That's her father, Bobby Brown. He's an Aquarius. And a Knight of Cups. I think this is him trying to get access to her, trying to reach her. And not trying to be like too clumsy about it. Trying to appeal to her emotionally. But I feel like trying to get hold of her. And the Tower and the Queen of Swords. And to me, this is just the quick loss and disruption that ended up happening to them in their lives. Just took him off. Just, it's really changed, and he's had to rebuild. Yeah. And she's talking about balance here again between the Lovers and Temperance. And about, she's saying, make good choices. She also is echoing her mother. I find that interesting in her reading, and about thinking about how the combinations of various reactions and what you're doing, trying to use foresight, and thinking about what is best for the longer term and not the shorter term. There was balance that was needed in love and in attention as well. But I feel like she's indicating that now where they're at, she has this. She didn't have it, on Earth. But having it now, she can see, is what I'm getting, all of this with much keener eyes, that her life was not built on sound principles, that it was doomed to fail because, she was with this guy, and this was a destruction, not something that was going to last. So there's a lot of healing also that has taken place on the other side here. Just for Bobbi Kristina, it was just about being shown quality time and attention and love. It's really what I get here. Like, she just really needed a lot of reassurance that she was loved, and I'm sure she was a handful to deal with, but in spirit, I think she was more able to receive it than she could, despite needing it, on Earth. Six of Cups, what I'm getting. This is her childhood. And we're going back to, she's talking about some kinds of activities, and I hope it's not anything too dark. Because I'm like, girl, Nick is all the darkness nobody needs, and the devil. The Four of Cups, and this is her. She's like, no, I'm not done talking, Maya. Sorry. She's saying she was just numb. That he had controlled her through violence. Okay, sweetheart, I get it. Since she was young, and she was very impressionable is what she's telling me, and Nick really took control and was able to do that, and it ended up making her feel disconnected, and she felt so helpless that she just also disconnected through the use of poor coping mechanisms such as alcohol and other drugs and other things, of not handling emotions properly, not dealing with them, not feeling them, avoiding them, and getting, pardon my language, fucked up instead on something else. And so when you do that, you have to learn that you have to feel so that you process your emotions and they don't remain stuck with you, and that you can release them much more likely if you feel them. You're not going to want to hold on to it. And I see for Bobbi Kristina, she just didn't want to, like a lot of people, there are people that totally avoid feeling, and they just instead go and numb themselves. Now, she was numbed not only from the use of substance and him feeding her drugs, is what I understand from what I'm picking up with the cards. And again, all my readings are alleged and for entertainment purposes only. But I get that this was such a long time going on for her that it was the only thing she knew. Because she was kind of sheltered in essence in some ways and not in others. And this was who was running amok in her life. And I think he was being abusive. Even at a younger age, when he came in, shortly in, she's letting us know that. with that behavior. And it just made her numb and depressed. Nick is the reason she was depressed. She didn't have any control over herself or her own things or her own life. He was doing it and snatching it away from her and keeping her drugged up to boot. And I think where her mother was concerned, he was overpowering there too, using his manipulation. Maybe feeding her drugs. I think that's what he probably did, because he looks like a drug dealer to me. And she's speaking here about fighting back. Needing encouragement to and wanting to fight back and defend herself, but afraid of scandal for her family and what this would mean for her family. So I think she's saying she kept quiet. And there may have been a secret marriage. There may have been that. I think he did this for contractual purposes, to try to get more and more in control of the wealth from her mother and her finance, her fortune. That shows up really strong there. Yeah. And look at that, abuse. We're getting domestic abuse, and that he made her do this also. I think he tried to say, yeah, we'll get married, or this will be our little our secret. But there's also, I think, then threats. You better do it. You're gonna do it. That's what I get. He was rotten. And Whitney feels like she was, that she was under his spell, that she was gaslighted in the condition that she was in. She was not in fighting shape. And she brings up the issue, as you can see again, about boundaries. And that this man didn't respect them. There's the issue of the father figure she's, indicating here too. And I still feel like this is Whitney now popping over. I feel like they kind of are with each other. It's with me. Okay. But regardless, it's to do with the father figure. And in the way that more people expect of the father role. And she needed that. And I get she's got it now, of course, with where she's at. But I just feel like there was an abuse of the men in her life, of the power that they had, or they neglected her or abandoned her. But they didn't love her, and that's what she's feeling, like she wasn't loved. Now, her father, of course, loved her, but he wasn't, I don't think he wasn't present there for himself or anybody else. So this was she still felt like a little girl that was abandoned and vulnerable to be manipulated and coerced. She didn't have good discernment, she's saying. Fool. That's what I was just thinking. Oh my God. And yeah, there's the discernment. Oh my God. And she can see that now in retrospect with an enhanced perspective that she has now. And I'm getting something else with this. Moving. I think she's letting us know, again, that we're going to have big changes coming and improvements and progress beginning to happen. Where I think regarding economy we start working to get that back up on its feet. And a little by little, I think doing what we need to do to move in a better direction. I think she's indicating where we need to change our lives so we can make changes. So there's a change coming in, and it will bring opportunities that are better and put us in a better place, and where we're revamping our nation. And I feel like she's also seeing that. Thank you. All right, so I will just, and we're going to become, I think, much more stable, our economy, she's saying. This is Bobbi Kristina. The Page of Swords. But there's still kind of a wariness. But we'll begin to see some improvement, I feel like. But it's because we have dutiful people doing their job. This is the difference between administrations that are just out to fleece and those that are out to truly serve the public. They've gotten way more done than Donald Trump ever did. So I think we can end on that note. And I'll just pull 2 more cards just to see if she's ready to. Because I am losing my voice. Yes, she's speaking to, they're deluded. His family, they're deluded. And they are deluded with how wealthy they claim that they are, or even imagine themselves to be. She's like, they're deluded about being deluded. I'm getting the tax man coming after them, she's saying. The tax man's going to come after him. All right, I want to thank Bobbi Kristina. That was really cool. And I hope you enjoyed our little back and forth. If you like my content, I hope that you will make sure that you are subscribed and hit the notification bell. Make sure you hit the like bell too, and share. Thank you so much. And I'll see you on Sunday at 3 p.m. for a live public